We've all been there. You start a new diet in the hopes that you can get rid of all that weight that's been making your life miserable for so many years. But just like the previous attempts, you fall off the wagon when cravings start and times get tough. Well, today I offer you the strategy and tactics in order to successfully crush the cravings and eliminate the weight for good. So let's get into this right here on the Carnivore Science channel. Attention, this video is primarily for those whose main goal is weight loss. Keep in mind that some of the solutions presented in this video may not be right for some who are concerned about inflammation or reversal of a medical condition via the keto or carnivore diet. First, we must establish a winning strategy to beat the cravings. We know what went wrong in the past, and we have a track record of failure that's been well established. We must devise a plan of attack to ensure victory. This is war. It's a war against ultra-processed, hyper-palatable, high-carb foods and our old childhood friends such as rice, pasta, Fruit Loops, and the kryptonite of the big boned, bread. Yeah, that used to be my weak link there. The plan of attack is clear. We got to stop the cravings from happening. They're the thing that brought us down so many times before. But how do we do that? So what is the solution? We got to ditch the carbs. Go to a high-fat keto or carnivore diet. When you eat carbohydrates, your blood glucose goes up, as does your insulin. Often you get a spike of energy, but it doesn't last very long, and it ends up making you ravenous later. You know what I'm talking about if you ever had Fruit Loops and a giant glass of orange juice for breakfast. At about 10:30 in the morning, you feel like you could eat a horse. This is the vicious cycle that we're trying to break so that we can be successful at weight loss. We need to prepare ourselves to go to battle. This is where my hacks come in to the picture. And we need arrows in our quiver, bullets in our gun. I know enough war talk, but that's actually the way I felt when I tried to lose weight. But when I adopted this strategy, I was successful. It worked. It can happen for you too. So here we go. Hack number 1, be prepared. Now this sounds a little bit dumb, but it is extremely important. Now that you're eating high-fat diets, keto or carnivore, you need to be prepared. You have to prepare food in advance. If you don't, you are not going to have really any options. I don't know if you've noticed, but all of the restaurants either are only selling foods that are 100% carbs or mostly carbs, or if it's not carbohydrates, it's marinated in a chemical stew that you don't want to put in your mouth that also will cause all kinds of weight issues. And it's just not very much of an option. There are a few options out there that you can turn to, like one of the places I go, and the only place I know to get something that's like fast food is McDonald's, and you can get quarter-pound patties, just plain. Those actually are 100% beef. They don't have anything in them. Unlike all the other stuff at McDonald's, I think their salt has 7 different chemicals in it. It's salt, for God's sakes. But that's what the landscape looks like. There's really nowhere to go. So what's going to happen if you do not prepare food in advance? Then you're kind of screwed. You're going to end up in the vending machine getting a honey bun in the break room. This is what's going to happen to you. You're going to just fall off the wagon. You're going to go to the vending machine and get God knows what. So be prepared, have food that is acceptable for you to eat, take it with you so that you can break glass in case of emergency and you have something there to fall back on. So what are some examples of some foods that are portable that you can take with you that are keto and carnivore friendly? Well, some examples are pepperoni, cheese, and again, you have to be careful when it comes to cheese because some people are very addicted to cheese because of the casomorphins, which cause you to crave it. Some people don't have any kind of problem at all. So you have to think about where you're at and what bothers you. Because if you're addicted to cheese, you want to kind of stay away from cheese, because the whole point of trying to get rid of cravings is we don't want to eat, we don't want to eat anything that's going to cause cravings. So it's person to person for that. And again, a lot of this stuff, I would not be an advocate of long term. This is about hacks to help you survive the transition into fat adaptation. These things were very helpful for me, and this is my experience that I'm describing here. But things like hamburgers, some people eat hot dogs, other types of lunch meat. Just look at the back and make sure that the carbs are as close to zero as possible. So ham is another one, but you have to be careful with ham. Make sure it's not sugar cured or it doesn't have a bunch of carbs in it. Some I've seen as much as like 11 grams of carbs, which is awful. And then some I've seen 0. So you have to really pay attention to your labels. You've got things like rotisserie chicken is a good option. I know I get rotisserie chickens at Sam's Club occasionally. Now, I think they inject the skin with a lot of stuff, but if you don't eat the skin of the rotisserie chicken, now that's not high fat, but you can also, you can add butter to anything that you eat. So you can add good fats to any of these foods I'm talking about. I do that regularly. I eat a lot of butter. So these are options that you can pack for your lunch. They're very portable, and just make sure that whatever you get, you add the fat, or either it has a lot of fat to it, because that is what satiates you. Hack number 2. This one is something I found to be very important in my weight loss journey. When you leave the standard American diet behind, you miss a lot of things. And you have a lot of cravings. Obviously, this is what we're trying to avoid here. So things are easier on this road if you have surrogate foods. Now, surrogate food in my case was, I would long for a giant bowl of macaroni and cheese. Baked macaroni and cheese. I used to love it. Used to make it all the time for the family. And obviously I can't have that. So what I did instead is I would make cauliflower mac and cheese. And that was in the beginning of keto. Like, I was keto before I was carnivore. And I lost part of my weight on keto and the rest of it on carnivore. But when I would be really craving mac and cheese or something like that, pasta of some kind, I would get cauliflower, a bag, the type you put in the microwave that you can steam. Really super easy. You don't have to get like a whole cauliflower and deal with it. But I would get a bag of that. I would steam it, quick and easy. I would put heavy cream, just put a little heavy cream in it after it's steamed, put it in a bowl, and add a bunch of like cheddar cheese on top. Now, I was never addicted to cheese, so I didn't have a problem doing this. But I would mix all that up, put it back in the microwave, make it the right consistency. And I got to tell you that I didn't lack for anything. That actually was so good, because most of what you're eating when you're eating macaroni and cheese is there's so much cheese in it and butter and stuff. And I would put some butter in there and just mix it all up. You can also do this in the oven. You can make it fancier. But this was one of the break glass in case of emergency type of thing. Because if I got a really serious craving for some kind of pasta or mac and cheese, this really hit the spot. Pork rinds and something that I would never, again, recommend long term. But if you make a buffalo chicken dip. Now this has got chicken, cream cheese. It's got some ranch dressing in it. You can mess with that so you have less of that, where it depends on what you get. You can get the ranch dressing that has lower carbs. It's still, again, I wouldn't recommend that long term. But when you're trying to lose weight, if there's not too much crap in it, you can there's better ranch and horrible ranch and synthetic ranch. So there's different types of ranch. But it's got some ranch dressing in it, the cream cheese, the chicken, and the cheddar cheese and stuff, and you make a dip out of it, and you can use pork rinds and dip that in there. Now, one of the things you miss when you actually go to this way of eating is you miss crunchy things, because think about it. How much meat is crunchy? If meat is crunchy, you're kind of afraid of it probably. So outside of crunchy bacon or whatever. So that's another option. So that's a surrogate food. Deviled eggs is another one. Now, again, I wouldn't recommend people eating mayonnaise long term, because mayonnaise most of the time is made out of soybean oil. If you can get it made out of something else or make your own, that's always better. But again, in the beginning, this helped me lose weight, and that's the point. Bacon is just something that no matter what I'm craving, if I'm craving a chocolate milkshake or something god awful, and or a candy bar, which I don't really do that. I don't really crave that anymore. But sometimes I get weird, like I want something and I don't know what. It's not that often, but it happens. It doesn't matter what I'm actually craving. Like if I think I'm craving sugar or something like that, if I eat bacon, it makes it okay. Literally, I have a coffee cup that says bacon gets me out of bed in the morning, and I think honestly it does, because bacon is just the saving grace for everything. Obviously, I get the bacon that has 0 carbs. Pork rind waffles. Now, this sounds absolutely hideous. It sounds like the nastiest thing you could possibly, if you were trying to make somebody sick and you want to describe some kind of food to them, you'd say pork rind waffles, right? Well, I'm going to show you a picture of this, either a video or a picture. I'll insert it here. But I actually made this recipe, and I'm thinking, this is dumb. I cannot believe I'm making this. This is so nasty. I made the recipe, and I gave some of it to my son, my 22-year-old son, and he didn't know. It wasn't a regular waffle, and it was the craziest thing, and it's so good. It's made out of eggs, and it's eggs, pork rinds that are crushed up. I order them like already crushed, like it's called panko pork rinds or whatever. And I wouldn't recommend crushing them, because it takes 4,000 years to actually crush enough pork rinds to fit in a cup. So it was 5 large eggs, 1 cup of pork rinds, about a half of a stick of butter, melted. You basically, and I do it all in a bullet. I put it all in a bullet. So you blend the eggs up in a bullet, and then you melt the butter, but make sure it's not hot, and you add the melted butter, and you mix it, while you're adding it. Add the pork rinds. I add a small amount of stevia, because I do consume stevia. A very pure version of stevia, not the crap stevia with maltodextrin in it, because that's crap. But and I'm trying to get, eventually I will get off of stevia too, but Rome was not built in a day. So I add a little bit of stevia, and I do add a little bit of vanilla extract for flavor, whatever. I blend all that together, and I put them in I put it in a Belgian waffle maker. And oh my God, you feel like when you are able to eat something like this, that's actually, it's carnivore, like it's basically just, it's got high fat and it's no carbs, and you feel like you're eating something from your past, it is really an amazing feeling. So that is one of my surrogate foods, because it's not a waffle. It looks like a waffle, and it smells like a waffle, and tastes like a waffle. Now, I don't put syrup on it, because one of the things I don't do is sweeteners like sucralose and maltodextrin and things like that you find in sugar-free stuff. I don't touch that, because it spikes your insulin. Stevia does not spike your insulin. That's the reason I use stevia. So what I'll do is I'll take butter, and this sounds stupid, but I'll take butter and melt it and mix a little stevia in it to make it sweet, like a sweet butter sauce type of thing. And then I'll pour it on the waffle, and it's just excellent. It really is excellent. I don't do that often, because I don't like to consume too much pork. Again, I just kind of feel like the more ruminant animals that I eat, the better I feel. It doesn't really make me feel bad. It's just, it's like eggs. I don't eat eggs all the time, because I think for weight loss, if you're trying to, like, I'm on mission to lose, like, I don't know, 9 more pounds, just for spite or something. But I'm actually at a good weight, but it's like I kind of want to be at a certain weight. I have like this thing in my head. But I don't eat eggs all the time, like every single day, because I found that for weight loss, if I stick to certain types of foods like red meat, fatty red meat, eating a lot of fat, eating a lot of butter, I lose weight faster. if I incorporate too much pork or too much, and I don't gain weight or anything. It's not like I gain weight. It's just that I lose faster if I stick to ruminant animals, and I don't go to like the pigs and things. But that is my favorite. That waffle thing, the pork rind waffle, which still blows me away every time I make it. That is not the nastiest thing on the face of the earth. It is really good. Pouring butter all over everything is a really good is a good way to satiate yourself and make everything just new and tasting better, because butter just makes everything better, right? You can also have like what I call a meat medley, like have a side of chicken with your steak. Sounds odd, or just mix and match, have different things. Now this is to help you feel like you're getting diversity of food, because that's one of the things that you don't get with it's one of the things you miss, because you had a plate of food and it was like a meat and two sides and a dessert and blah 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 blah, and it just you don't when you're just walking around eating a hunk of meat, it makes you, I don't know, you kind of have nostalgia for like what you used to do. You have to understand that there's going to be times when you're really going to be jonesing for something from your past. You're really going to want to join in with what everybody else is doing. But you got to remember, how badly do you want to lose that weight? And the thing is, it's just emotional, or it's either psychological. It's not that you're not satiated or that you're hungry, because if you eat enough fat and you eat the way I'm talking about, you're not going to be hungry. That's not the problem. We are addicted to all of this standard American diet food, and we crave it. We have cravings. We need a fix. We need a hit. So doing all these little tricks that I'm talking about help you deal with it, and you deal with it successfully. Like, it works. Like, I don't feel like I'm missing out, because I have these little tricks and these little things that I do to help, make things more interesting. So hopefully that'll help you too. Hack number 3, fatty coffee. Now, what is fatty coffee? Fatty coffee is basically black coffee with a giant lob of butter put in it and MCT oil. All of that's frothed up. I also put a little bit of stevia in it. Now, this has been a staple in helping me lose weight. It has been very successful at jacking up my ketones and helping me to have a lot more energy. It keeps me very satiated. So I'll do 2 a day. I usually do now I'm trying to get off of coffee, because I've been very critical of coffee. I don't want to drink coffee forever, and I don't think anybody should drink coffee forever. But again, we're talking about what gets you through that weight loss, what gets you through the transition, what gets you away from the standard American diet. So this helped me. This worked. It worked very, very well. And I do it to this day, but I am trying to find another vehicle for my butter, which might sound stupid, but the coffee itself is not really that important to me. It's just, what are you going to put butter, if you want to have butter and MCT oil, what are you going to put it in? Like hot water? I don't know. Maybe I'll try that. But I'm trying to get away from the coffee, because coffee, it's not the best thing in the world. It's got there's a lot of chemicals involved. This is very, very helpful. I would do one in the morning and one around lunchtime. I never wanted to eat in the middle of the day. I would do the coffee, and it would keep me satiated until dinner time. So that's something that helped me tremendously. It was one of the key factors of helping me to lose weight. So fatty coffee is a really good tool that you can have in your toolbox to try to get you through this. Now, one thing I did, this was a little bit creative, is that I would take, what is it? Perrier? No. A Pellegrino. I would take Pellegrino, which is sparkling water, mineral water, and I would take a little bit of, there's what's called real lemon packets. Now, you would take a little bit of that to give it a lemony taste. Just a little bit, and it's dehydrated lemon, and I wouldn't have much of it, just a little bit of a packet, and then I would add a little bit of stevia, and what I was creating was my version of Sprite, but without all the garbage and without all the sugars. So that is something that you can do. That's like a fun hack. I was always inventing different types of substitute foods or substitute drinks, so that worked pretty well. So the fatty coffee, the fake Sprite, stuff like that, it helps you get through, because if you're able to grab something, you're replacing other habits with better habits, and you gradually can replace those habits with other things. It's not like you're going in the opposite direction where you're picking up a horrible habit you're going in the positive direction. And that's what you want to do, and you want to be able to keep losing weight. So hopefully that's a good tip that'll work for you. Hack number 4, weigh yourself every day. Now, I know most of the internet is going to be like, anti-scale, don't pay attention to the scale, pay attention to how you feel. If you are trying to lose weight, and that is the point of what we're discussing here, you need to hold yourself accountable, and you need to watch how your weight fluctuates. Okay, so I'm not telling you to weigh yourself every day so you can beat yourself up or you can feel like crap. That is not the point of this. When I was about 40 pounds in to my first amount of weight, like when I was almost 100 pounds overweight, and I got 40 pounds down, I had a setback. I was weighing myself before that every day, at least once or twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. I was following trends, looking to see if I was gaining water, weight, or, based on what I was eating. I was tracking a lot of things. And I kind of started to fall off the wagon. This was around when dirty keto popped his ugly head up, and it caused a lot of problems. And one of the things that I did is I gaslit myself. So I got into the dirty keto. I felt like a little different, and I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gaining a few pounds here and there. But I convinced myself that, oh, well, we don't want to weigh ourselves all the time. That's neurotic and blah, blah, blah. I just talked myself into not doing that. Really what was going on is that I was convincing myself of that because I didn't want to face what I was doing. I did not want to look at the actual results, of my actions, of the stupid almond muffins and all of the dumb things I was doing back when I was keto, when I got into dirty keto. So what I had learned during that period of time, now I eventually got back in the groove of things. And what I started doing is weighing myself in the morning and then weighing myself at night, and I track it. I track the results. I track what I eat. I track things to figure out what causes what. Like, does certain foods might cause you to gain a lot of water weight, or I don't know. It's just different foods, different people have different results. So that's one of the things that I would say to do, is because you really need, if you're losing weight, the point of all of this is to lose weight. You need to track that, and you need to pay attention to it. It is important. No matter what people say about, scales and whatnot. Now, I do know that when you go carnivore, sometimes people will actually lose inches. They gain muscle tone. So keep that in mind. You have to go into this with the right mindset. It's not so that you can beat yourself up. Pay attention to your body and how you feel, muscle tone, changes in appearance, waistline. Like, you can also check your inches, like how many inches you've lost and things like that. Clothes size, all of that works together. But the easiest thing that you can do a lot of times is a scale. Is just get on the scale, keep yourself accountable daily, because you have a goal to lose weight. That is the point of what you're doing. In this video, we're talking only about, and that makes you healthier. That gets you healthier, especially if you're on a high-fat diet and you're nourishing your body like you want to. And you're leaving standard American and you're going to a high-fat, either carnivore or keto diet, either one of them. You're making your life better. So hold yourself accountable and get on that scale every day, or at least a couple of times a week. Hack number 5, don't eat for sport. And what I mean by this is, do you go home and do a whole lot of nothing, or do you have a hobby? Do you have something you're interested in? Do you have extracurricular activities? This is important because when you kind of just, you go to work and you come home and you're just like watching TV and things like that, and you don't have things that you're engaged in, you're likely to eat for sport or boredom. Boredom is a big factor in why people overeat or they are eating for sport. Also, now that goes for people who do have hobbies, because myself, I am a gamer, so hopelessly addicted to video games. But one of the things I used to do when I was overweight is I would eat while I game, which is the mother of all bad ideas. A lot of gamers do that. They'll eat stuff. They'll have live streams. You know, the gamers have stream channels. They have live streams and they're like mowing down a pizza or guzzling a giant soda and just, you know, turning into, I don't know, Job of the Hut playing Minecraft or something. But it's like it's not a good situation. So you have that type of thing where whatever it is your recreational activities are, it involves a bunch of bad eating habits. But you also have the opposite of that, where people just don't get engaged in certain activity, or they don't have extracurricular outside of work activities. You know, they go to work, they come home, they sit in front of the boob tube, you know, eat for sport, that kind of thing. So even if you're doing everything else in the diet, this is not conducive to success. Not having healthy interest outside of, you know, the 9 to 5 type of thing, if you're just coming home and existing, that's not a good way to lose weight. You know, it's not a now I know when I was almost 100 pounds overweight, I didn't want to I didn't want to interact with the world, and I understand that. Like, I really actually kind of went into hibernation in a way. I did what I had to do, went to work and stuff, but I kind of existed when I got home. Just, you know, it's not good. As you evolve and as you change and this starts to work for you and you start to see results, try to become more engaged, because it will definitely help you lose weight. So those are my top 5 hacks that got me through losing close to 100 pounds. Without these things, without these strategies, I would have never made it. There's no way I would have made it. So I hope these help you, and leave your comments below about what you experience and how things work for you. Everybody's different. You might come up with completely different hacks that can help somebody else. So if you do, please mention them. Also, if you like this video, please give it a like, and if you want to subscribe, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.